She'll be so lost. Yes. I see that. Can't wait to see her. Come in.
What's wrong? Did something happen again?
Joyce, do you know what you've done?
Me?
Yes, it's you. You did it again.
Did what?
This is unbelievable. We have decided to go ahead with the online portal and mobile application.
How could you do that to me?
It's not my idea.
Hey, babe. Hey, hi.
Okay.
And I thought something bad really happened. Anyway, I'm happy that boss approved my online portal and mobile app proposal for our membership program.
Congratulations.
That is because, Joyce, it is a good proposal. However, I'm still a bit concerned about the data protection aspects of this project. I think we should ensure that we have looked at all the aspects, especially since we have the opportunity to put measures in place right at the beginning of this project. Data protection by design, right, Kwanzaa?
Yes, boss. An important aspect of data protection by design is to be proactive and preventive. We have to plan for all these measures before designing the system, and we have to anticipate and prevent things that might happen before they happened. This way the system will be more robust. So we must assess the risks and provide measures for them.
Exactly, Kwanzaa. That is why I have made an appointment with this company. They may have some personal data protection by design tips for us.
All right, boss. I'll be on it. To find out more about market research and data protection, I'm here to meet Mr. Alan Tay, Managing Director and Data Protection Officer of Joshua Research Consultants. Hi, Alan.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Please
Thank
take
you
a seat.
for having me.
You're most welcome.
Nice place you've got.
Thank you.
Alan, can you share with me more about what sort of data you collect and how do you use them?
Sure. As a marketing research company, we collect a lot of personal data through interview and survey. The type of data is subject to research objective and nature. For example, if we are conducting social study, we may gather demographic information such as how old are you, where do you live, what do you do. If let's say we're conducting financial study, we may gather information on what is your salary, about how much in your saving account, and also could be questions like what is your investment portfolio, and what is your purchasing motivations. We don't share interviewee personal data with research buyer. We normally aggregate all the data together. We perform segmentations analysis. So we look at the overall result instead of individuals interviewee personal data.
Seems like you've got tons of information to process every day.
Precisely.
So what got you started on this personal data protection journey?
Oh, this is way back to 2014 when we learned about the DNC and PDPA will be implemented in July. So we start gathering our staff together to discuss the acts. Of course, looking at that point of time, there are limited consultants available for consultations.
Exactly. Did you get any external help?
Nobody available. We have no resources to engage any specialists to help us.
Wow, so everything is DIY.
Yes. So we gather all level of our staff together. So during office hour, we will discuss the acts, and then we will study the advisory guideline line by line. And if let's say insufficient of time, so we will gather everybody come back after work or during weekends to discuss for 8 whole months.
8 months?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Of course, I'm very glad at the end, we, together with our staff, we crafted our data flow, we formulated our PDPA policy, and also our in-house training materials.
You just mentioned that you crafted and designed all these policies to cater to the needs of JRC.
That's right. Because market research is unique industry, we handle a lot of personal data. This is why we customize the data flow to cater for our operational needs.
So it's data protection by design.
You can say so.
Can you tell me more?
Maybe we can move over to our call center. You will have better pictures of it.
Great.
Come, let's go.
Thank you.
Come. So this is our call center. Since this is a call center handling a lot of personal data, so this is why we redefine this area as a restricted area. When interviewer arriving this area, first of all, they have to come to our staff to sign up the ID as well as the locker key. And they have to deposit their personal belonging and also their mobile phone into the locker before they go into the call center.
Oh, why can't they bring their personal belongings into the call center?
This is to prevent potential data leak. Come, let me show you one of our call center.
Okay.
So this is one of our call center here. And paper will be supplied to interviewer for notes taking. So when they finish their jobs, before they leave the call center, they must submit this paper to our staff in charge here. And our staff will shred this paper accordingly.
Every single piece?
Of course, this is to prevent potential data leak. And if you look at this call center, you can see that we divide call center into 3 individual rooms. The purpose of these divisions is to ensure privacy and confidentiality to our clients.
And what other SOPs do you have in place?
We have new information security measures in place in this call center. One good example is we segregate our data into sensitive and non-sensitive. So in this case, sensitive data only can access through LAN system. Okay. On top of that, all our PC here, we disable all the USB ports, CD-ROM, and Wi-Fi feature. If let's say based on project requirement, if we need to access to client server, so our system administrator will come in to whitelist the IP address to allow this PC access to client server.
Oh, selective browsing.
Control environment.
When the interviewers make outgoing calls, what do they have to take note?
I think the most important thing is they must obtain consent from interviewee. Okay, example, before they continue to interview the interviewee, they have to seek their consent for recording and also to seek consent for participation in the survey.
And what are some of the other challenges that you faced?
One of the challenges is human resistance. Example, some of our interviewer feedback that it's too strict, not allowed them to bring in mobile phone and personal belonging to the call center.
Oh yeah, they'll be out of touch for a long time.
Yes, causes a lot of inconveniences. And on top of that, because of PDPA, we introduce more steps on data transmission. And for example, we need to encrypt the file before we send it to client. So sometimes our staff and clients complain that it's too rigid, why we need to implement all these things. So we try our best to explain to our interviewer, to our staff, to our clients that, I know it's rigid, it's inconveniences, but what important to us is compliance and is to protect the general public's their personal data.
How true. And after doing all this, how has the company benefited from data protection measures?
I think the first thing is our staff learn about the obligations and accountability. Secondly, a lot of reputable research buyer or research agency, they are interested working with us because we have high standard of data protections. I think we gain from there.
All right, thank you so much, Ellen.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Do
you.
I have to shred this before I go?
Oh, sure.
No.
Please.
Can I bring them out?
No.
my fault. But it's just...
Too much work, right? I feel you.
What happened? I thought I heard something crashing down.
Yes, it's our bodies crashing down.
She meant the folders. Oh.
I guess all of you must have been working really hard lately with the online portal, events, data protection SOP reviews.
Boss, our workload is increasing, but there's just so few of us.
I understand. It must have been tough on all of you. Well, our company has been slowly expanding, especially since our online portal has made its official launch on the market, and the response is good. I think it's time for us to hire some new employees.
Yay!
But we have to do this right. Ponsat,
Yes.
could you please find out what type of data protection measures we will need to implement when it comes to handling the personal data of new applicants as well as our existing employees?
Yes, boss.
Good.
I'm here at Prime Staff Management Services to learn about the ways to protect the personal data of employees. I'll be speaking with the Managing Director, Mr. Ronald Lee. Hi Ronald, thank you so much for meeting with me. You know, my company is expanding now, so I'm really curious about personal data protection policies. As a recruitment agency, how do you handle the data of your potential candidates and those of your employees?
As a recruitment agency, we have been established for the last 22 years. So we have access to many data over the years from candidates, clients, and people we have to deal with. And we have up to now active data no less than 50,000. We purge them regularly on a 3-yearly basis on the assumption that some of those older data we have no need for them or we have no use for them or they are outdated, we remove them. The remaining data that we keep continue to be useful and we do continual updating of this data. Now, for candidates who come by us, we always make it a point to tell them why we need to use the data. We also need to get their consent to use this data. We also need them to understand why we are asking for some personal information and how do we use them, how do we keep them, how do we protect them, how do we actually disseminate them to the relevant parties. For example, if you are looking for a job, I need to send them to a third-party client. I would then need to be able to share this confidentially with these clients. And some of the personal data that we collect includes these things here in the form: the name, the IC number, the address, email address. Yeah, correct. So they know what we need to gather and for what purpose. And behind this form here, we actually give a very compact and clear indication of why we collect this information. How do we use them? How do we keep them? And if they need to update them or if they want for some reason this data removed, how do they tell us and we will deal with it accordingly.
Oh, may I have a copy of this,
Yes,
please?
of course you can.
Thank you. And Ronald, you mentioned that you have got 50,000 active data. How do you manage so much data and how do you get your staff to comply with all the measures that you have in place?
Okay, we do have a very comprehensive IT system where we gather all the data, and also through this IT system we are able to decide how they are to be used. All our people are trained in terms of using the data and how it should be disseminated accordingly. We do have different level of people requiring different level of information. So we set this security system where they cannot go beyond what they are allowed to see or to use. And so the more senior you are, as a team lead, perhaps you will be able to see more, you access more. Otherwise, you don't access. And so there is a good IT system in place to ensure that all these data are appropriately used and disseminated only when needed. And of course, we also ensure that our people know how they are to be used, when to use them. And so we train our people regularly on how such data are to be used, especially people who join us, people who may have forgotten. So we do run regular coffee talks on a monthly basis. And within these coffee talks, we ensure that a few things are emphasized. Number one, our company vision, mission. Number two, we talk about the TAFEP policies. And then number three, of course, PDPA. And some of these information are what we use to train our people, right? So this is a PA policy within the organization that we introduce. And we use this to train our people and to make sure they understand how such information are used.
So it's a step-by-step guide of what to do if somebody were to walk in.
Well, this flowchart really is a very complete picture of the entire recruitment process, and it guides our consultants on which aspect of the work, when they are dealing with personal data, they've got to be aware of. So everybody knows, from client, candidates, and our consultant. They know at which point what information can be released, what information cannot be released, how do they release them, and how do they ensure that such information are appropriately used when disseminated.
And you've thought out all the different scenarios that may happen. What if somebody signed on a form? What if somebody doesn't sign on a form? What happens if the job application is successful? What happens if it's not? So everything is clearly mapped out.
And this is used on our regular coffee talks to ensure that people understand in a comic sense the actual importance of this data protection. Why don't I show you around now, around the office, so that you get a clearer picture of what we do and how we go about this entire process.
Okay.
Come, this way. So this is where we hold our interviews. This is where the people come by for jobs and we put them into rooms where there is more privacy.
And I see there's a lot of interviews going on every day. So how do you ensure that everything goes smoothly when you're trying to implement all these data protection policies? How do you overcome the difficulties?
Okay, we understand that this is a very important aspect of doing business, and because that it's come into law, we have to really make sure that whatever we put out first meet the statutory requirement, and two, to meet the needs of the people dealing with us. And so we spend a lot of time going around understanding what this whole thing entails. We attend courses, we go for training, we send our people for talks and to learn. Then we come back, we put what we know, what we learn together, and then we over time develop what we call our own internal PDPA policy. We have appointed our own personal data protection officer, who is also our IT expert, and he monitors closely the information flow, the movements, the securities, and so on.
Thank you so much, Ronald. You have been
You're
so
welcome.
helpful. Thank you so
Welcome.
much.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. Let me
Thank
show
you for
you
having
out.
me.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Come. Okay, I've already received several applications to join us. We should be welcoming new members to our family very soon.
Hey! I'm looking forward to that.
So, what are some of the points that we have gathered on safeguarding personal data today?
To sum up, there are three main points. First, organizations need to have an appropriate level of security for the personal data that is under their care. Their vendors have a part to play in personal data protection too. Point number 2. Conducting regular housekeeping is important. We should not keep personal data that is no longer needed, be it for business or for legal purposes. Point number 3. We must be proactive and preventive. We should practice personal data protection by design by taking into account personal data protection measures and needs before designing the system.
Great. I think we have really come a long way in terms of implementing personal data protection measures. While our journey continues, and there may be more measures in future, I think we have done pretty well so far. I must thank all of you for contributing to our personal data protection journey.
Thank you, boss!
And in particular, our personal data protection officer, Honsa.
Thanks, boss. Pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
I think we should make you a full-fledged certified data protection officer. Is there such a program?
I'm not really sure, but I can check it out.
I think DPOs should be recognized. And it'll be good if companies like us are recognized for our efforts.
Yes, that way we can differentiate ourselves from our competitors and we can tell our customers that, hey, trust us, we will take care of your personal data because your personal data is our responsibility.
Good. So now let us take a little break and celebrate.
Yay! Your personal data, our responsibility.